If every word in the Bible is intentional, then what makes the word fervent so special? This word came in like twice within a couple of days in just some daily reading in this book that I have that's called Daily Bread, where it just gives you a little small lesson each day. And there's always been one of my favorite verses was James 5:16 about the fervent and effectual prayer. Really has been during my waiting season been one of those that just keeps playing over and over and over at some point in time. So then when the word fervent came up, I was like, okay, I'm listening. What are you trying to tell me? And this is the second night that I had planned to talk about something else. And Holy Spirit's like, hold up, I got something different. And with this one, I sat and had to do my own research. It wasn't something that he had already given me in the past or given me something where I knew exactly what I'm going to talk about. I had to sit down and research it. And then all of a sudden, it started flowing. So I'm hoping that he will have me say whatever he wants me to say that needs to touch whoever it needs to touch. Because I did learn some things myself. So first off, I looked up what fervent means. Fervent means a burning zeal. And I found out that zeal means a passionate desire or commitment. So, we'll see it in here. Zeal for God means that you have a passionate desire for him and a commitment towards him. We'll get into that further. And I always like to look up Hebrew definitions. So in Hebrew, fervent means intensity, enthusiasm, and it showed a synonym being passion. So I thought all that kind of fell into place. One thing, and I didn't feel like it was revealed to me though, but it was weird that all the mentions of fervent is in the New Testament. There's nothing in the Old Testament. But everything that I saw had something to do with relationship with others, relationship to God, the word having relationship to all that. So anyway, let's jump on in. I'll try not to make this as long as the other ones, but you know me, I tend to run my mouth. So anyway, let's go on. So I'm just going to read some of the scriptures. You can go and read them for yourself. There was Acts 18:25. It was talking about being fervent in the spirit. Romans 12:11 also stated being fervent in the spirit. There was 2 Corinthians 7:7, which was saying fervent mind towards me, meaning towards God, keeping your mind on him. And the other ones I'm going to talk about in a little bit more detail because there was more things I want to talk about. So when you have a zeal, and again, a passionate desire or a commitment for God, then you want to do the things of him. You want to be like him, and that's what we're supposed to be. That's the whole purpose in going in the walk and going on the journey, is so he can build us and make us and mold us like him. I will get my words straight in a minute. I am sorry. And so those things like loving will come easier and I did realize this, and it's not that I didn't love people, but I found a new love for people that I didn't have before. Now, there's still times people get on my nerves. I deal with phone calls and deal with the public, so it's going to come with the territory. But I mean, there's still a love for them. It's just, there's a separation. Still working on it, let's put it that way. But as far as like having compassion for others, and normally when okay, let's go with road rage. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. But if I would get cut off in the carpool line, or if I would get cut off in traffic, or someone wasn't paying attention, before I was quick to start cussing, fussing, and ready to stick the middle finger up, everything like that. But now I don't. And now it's like, okay, well, maybe they just had something on their mind. Maybe they weren't paying attention, and realized I do the same thing. So let me show that mercy that I would want somebody to show me. And if for some reason they did it intentionally, then that's between them and the Lord. At that point, I'd leave it alone. So I've gotten much better in that, which I'm actually kind of shocked at. But it's just having that, again, have compassion for others, that love for others. Doing right comes easy. I'm blunt on here. I was a real bad liar. I mean, I lied because I didn't want to deal with people. I didn't want to, let's go ahead and say husbands. I didn't want to tell them the truth because either I'd have to hear it, walk on eggshells. It was just easier just to tell them something that I figure they want to hear than actually tell them the truth, because I didn't think they believe it anyway. And that is another story for another time. And so now that if I, even at work, like if I can't tell a person exactly what I need to tell them, like a client, it's still, even when I'm trying to divert the truth because I can't exactly tell them what somebody else said. I mean, even when it's minor things, I mean, just something to save somebody's feelings, it still convicts me. And I think it's because me personally has lied in the past, and so I take it a little bit more seriously, and I'm a little bit more sensitive to that. Sorry, Snoopy's saying hey. Or like not listening or watching the things that I used to watch before. I used to love horror movies. I don't know why. I like to be scared, apparently. But now I don't have that want to anymore. And if I, I mean, like Beetlejuice. I mean, I loved Beetlejuice, the first one. Watched it over and over and over and over and over. And even had my daughter watch it. And now this new one that came out, it's just like my spirit's against it. And it's not that I feel like I'm missing out. I just feel like I don't want to watch it. I don't want to be a part of that. I don't know if that makes sense. And that's not for everybody. This is where it comes in. Let me give this disclosure. Everybody is to work out their own salvation with fear and trembling. That means whatever is of you. If God hasn't dealt with those things with you yet, or hasn't dealt with you at all with that, then that's not a struggle for you. These were struggles for me. He's revealed to me why this stuff. And, for me, of having worries, anxiety, and fears, he showed me that horror movies, scary movies, was something that was adding to that fear and adding to that anxiety. I mean, even as much as stop listening to country music, because in country music was always somebody lying and cheating and dying and breaking up or whatever it was. And that was just stuff that was adding to anxiety and thoughts. And once that little thought started, then it would keep growing and growing and growing. And so that was stuff that he broke me of. Again, that might not be the same for you. So anyway, so those things and those desires will go away. I mean, that's what he wants, because he wants to bring healing. He wants to bring that peace and all that. So I always compare a relationship with God like a relationship with a partner or a friend. I always like to compare because it helps me to understand him a little better and a little deeper. So when you have a passionate or a desire for a partner, you're going to change, and you may not realize it. Sorry, I just realized that I'm slouching. Let me adjust the camera a little bit. You want to, if it's the right person and it's of God and everything is flowing, you want to do the things that you know that they like, or you don't want to do the things that you know that they don't like, that you know that's going to hurt them, that you know that's going to bring them fear. If it's somebody that's an overthinker, you're going to be more communicative and say, give them a little bit more of a play-by-play for your day. Not because they don't trust you. It's because of something in the past that they have to deal with, they have to heal from, that is causing for that to happen. Or, if it's somebody that's been cheated on, and unfortunately you're helping to love them out of that and help them heal. And so, again, giving a play-by-play of what's going on, it's not showing that you are weak. It's not showing that you are guilty. It's just showing that you are being loving and you're caring and you're understanding of their feelings. But anyway, it's not something you should have to force. It should be something that you want to do because you feel that love for them, that respect for them. And you find that you want to spend time with them, and you want to get to know them. And you want to know the good, the bad, the ugly. You want to know the past. You want to know everything about them. To become one. I mean, that's the whole purpose, is to be with somebody, to be married, and as the Bible states, to become one. And that's what you need to be. You need to be of one mind. You need to be of one accord. So yeah, this throws me into one of mine. So my thing was always about men in my past, relationships in my past, was I'm not materialistic. I don't know if I've said this in any of my videos before. I don't care about jewelry. I don't care about fast cars. Don't care about money. Don't care about big houses. I just want you to spend time with me. I don't expect you to buy me flowers. I don't expect you to buy me presents. A handwritten card is fine with me on the back of a napkin. That means more to me because you took the time to say in your own words how you felt. But spending time with me, your time is something that you give somebody that you can't get back. It's valuable, especially with the way that the world is. So it would bug me when I didn't get that time. But when it was forced, or it was felt like it was an obligation from my exes, it really ticked me off because I didn't think it was a lot to ask for. So it's the same with God. When you're doing that, building a relationship with anybody, it's the same thing. You don't want to feel like an obligation. You want to feel like that they want to spend that time with you. They want to get to know you. They want to be close to you. And that's how you do with God, the same way. You've got to spend that time with him. You've got to talk to him. You've got to read his words. That's how he talks to you. You've got to pray. You've got to share your deep, dark secrets, and he's going to know them anyway. He made you. He knows every hair that's on your head. So, of course, he knows what you're thinking and the things that you're going to say. You can't hide from him. And I just used to tell myself this. I can hide from me. I can lie to myself. But you can't lie to God. He already knows. He's not going to get mad at you. Believe me, I have yelled at him. I have fussed at him. I have been angry at him. I have tried not to talk to him, but then I wind up going, God, I'm sorry. And that's what you do. He knows we're flesh. He knows that's going to happen. And it does say that you can, I don't remember the exact words, but you can get mad, but you don't stay in that because that's what leads you to sin. So anyway, spending time with him, singing to him, and no matter how bad my voice may sound, it's funny because when I sing to him, I feel like I sound better. Whether I do or not, at least to me, I sound better. So I appreciate that part. But the whole thing is he wants you to depend on him. He wants you to call on him for that comfort and that peace and that happiness that you think you need in someone else. And that was my downfall because I thought I needed someone to bring me those things. I kept depending on others to find those things. And I found out that no, I needed it from him. And once I am healed, which I feel that that's where I'm at now, then I'm open to be in a proper relationship. I have dropped all my baggage. I have healed in all those places. And that way I don't put a lot of pressure on who I'm supposed to be with. For me, God has revealed who my person is and showed me who he is. And knowing him and his ways, that God has kind of worked on me in those areas. Anyway, that doesn't matter. But the point is that God wants to be your source of everything. He is living waters, meaning it is always flowing. It's never stagnant. And that's what we need because we are being refreshed, renewed every day. If we let him. Friendships is the same. So you got to spend time. You got to get to know each other. You got to share in order to grow and make it strong and have a great friendship. The only thing is that we put up a block is because we don't physically see him. Now, what was weird, I never thought this before, but think about talking to God, talking to God is like talking to someone on the phone. This may resonate better with people back my age in the 80s, before they had FaceTime. So when you're on the phone, you don't see the person. You are talking to somebody. You might envision what they're doing, but you don't actually see them. So then treat God the same way. Like you're on the phone with them, or you got an earpiece in and you're just talking. Same thing. He can hear you no matter where you're at. He knows your thoughts. You can talk to him in your mind. However you want to do it. It's just a matter of talking, and that talking gets it flowing. And when that happens, I promise you, I can't stress this enough. And it's weird to say this, and I don't mean audibly he comes and speaks to me. That's not what I mean. One verse says that it was oppressing in his spirit. And I think he was talking about Paul. And that really resonated with me because that's what it feels like. It's like something that is so strong that I can't shake it. Like talking about tonight. And when I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to talk about what I talked about the other night. And it was like, nope, I'm fervent. And it kept coming up. It kept coming up in my mind. And I'm like, fine, I hear you. So it's ways like that. But while you're talking to him, there's no need to hide any part of you. He wants you to come to him because he knows your thoughts. He knows your fears. He knows what makes you angry, bitter, jealous, and he wants to hear you say it. If you say it, what is that? Admitting it is the first problem, or first step. Sorry. Admitting your problem is the first step. I think that's right. And that's the same thing with him. When you admit what your problem is, then that gives him the opportunity to work on you, because you're coming to him and you're admitting you have a problem, or you have this situation, or you need this healing, and he will work on you. And sometimes it's a slow process. I think one time he exposed it to me and it was like, oh, I never want to feel that way again. So then it was like, okay, I hear you, I'm done, and I haven't had an issue with it since. But for most part, he works on you. And it's just through everyday life. I mean, I don't know, way as I think of things, I'll share them. So in the verses I found, being fervent in the spirit is with the phrase fervent in the spirit, is for remaining in belief, being on fire for him, wanting to learn, wanting to share or teach, to serve him, and keep your mind on the things of him. Again, being like him. The fruits of the spirit just came to my mind. Having those fruits of the spirit, being gentle and meekness and long-suffering and patient and kind, gentleness. I think I've gotten most of them. That those are ways to become like him. Again, that's our purpose. Our purpose is to become like Christ. So Colossians 4:12. It says, and I'm just paraphrasing in quick little parts, not the whole thing. It states, laboring fervently for you in prayer. And this was talking to others about, this is the way that they were going to be. And I hate that I didn't write that down. But we are to pray for one another. We already know that part. But we are to share each other's burdens. You are supposed to pray for others as if you were praying for yourself. I felt this so deeply. There was a couple that was going through a situation, and it was weird because it's the first time this really, really happened to me. I felt the need to go over and pray with them one day at church, and my tears started pouring, and it was like, I knew that there was something that they were going through. I didn't know what it was, but in my spirit, it was like, I know this. It was about being patient. It was about trying to lose control, to give up control. Those were the things that I was feeling. It was really weird that it was that way, but I felt the pain and I was crying with them. And then afterwards, they told me what the situation was, and I was like, that is so weird. And what it was is that we were going through the same emotions and things that we needed to do, the process that we needed to do, even though we were going through two totally different scenarios. And it dawned on me that this is what happens. People go through totally different things, but are experiencing the same issues, the same healing, the same letting go of control, needing the same healing for wanting love, wanting peace, and things like that. Anyway, that just came to me. I just wanted to share that. But we were to pray in one accord. I mean, what really got me was over this Hurricane Milton. I kept seeing everywhere on TikTok of people praying. There was even one I saw where a guy was in UK and was praying. Who does he know in the United States, in Florida, that was going to be hit by the thing? And by his TikTok, he didn't know anybody. He was just praying to pray. And there were so many of them that were. Me personally, yes. I have friends and families all over the state of Florida. And most of them are on the West Coast. And right in the path of the hurricane. And I was like, yes, I am praying for them as hard as I can. But then at the same time, it's like, God, I want you to protect all of them. Do something. This can't happen. And everybody's predicting this to be catastrophic. And all of a sudden it takes a southern turn. And the strength decreases, and then it just basically speeds real fast. It doesn't sit there. That's one of the things I prayed about, because I was like, especially after Hurricane Helene, it was like, God, please don't let it just sit there and build and build and build and produce all this water and just keep throwing the ocean on the shore. But to me, I truthfully believe it was just everybody coming together with one purpose, with one prayer for safety, for mercy. And I mean, he showed off. I mean, he showed it. And I just wish people would see that. So again, going back to my favorite one about fervent, James 5:16, the effectual fervent prayer of a righteous man availeth much. And of course, a man meaning a person, man or woman. God does not take literal man, woman. That doesn't matter to him. And if you are offended by that, you need to talk to him about letting that offense go. Anyway, effectual, I looked it up. And it says capable of having power to produce a desired result. Now, before this, I got somewhat of a meaning of what effectual meant. But when I found this tonight, I was like, wow. Capable of having power, capable or having power to produce a desired result. Meaning, it's going to happen. No matter what, it's going to happen. And then fervent, meaning of something with intensity, enthusiasm, and again, the synonym of passion. So that one right there made that stand out so much more, that all these times that God was throwing this up to me and showing it to me that this is what I was missing. That when I'm praying and what I'm praying for, that I'm praying, I need to pray with it, not only knowing it's going to happen, but having the intensity, the enthusiasm, and understanding that I have the power to produce a desired result. Whew, I felt that one. 1 Peter 1:22, see that ye love one another with a pure heart fervently. So I felt this meant love with intensity and enthusiasm, and the word pure jumps out at me because pure love. That'll be for another one. I'll dig into that because I definitely have some things to say about pure love. But in this one, to me, there's a difference in love you and I love you. To me, love you is, I have love for you. Yeah, I love you. Nice to see you. Have a nice day. We'll talk in another 5 years, whatever. I love you. It's a deep feeling of love for you. It is singling you out. I am taking the time to specifically say, I, myself, love you. You are special to me. You mean something to me. Sorry. And now I'll insert what love has meant for me for years. I have always described this. The 80s song Extreme, More Than Words. Whew. Every single line, if you've never heard it, you have got to hear it or just read the lyrics. Because that is exactly what it is. It's more than words. Don't just tell me the words. I've heard the words over and over and over. And you got to back them up. You got to have action. You got to have action. And I mean, even in the Bible, it states, you can know my words, and I'm paraphrasing, you can know my words, but if you don't put them into action, they don't mean anything. You're not doing anything. It's not worth anything. And that's basically with love. It's with anything. If you don't put action behind it, if you say you're going to do something, but you don't do it, you've lost all that credibility. So basically, in your love for God, for others, your service to God and to others, in your teaching, sharing, learning, in your work, in your prayers, and everything that you do, you should be showing a fervent spirit. You should have passion. You should have enthusiasm. You are to be intense and have that zeal, which again means desire or commitment, because serving God is a commitment. Every relationship you have is a commitment. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting into it. So God wants you to be his desire. Did I say that right? No, God wants to be your desire. Sorry. He wants that relationship with you. He wants to get to know you. He wants to, it's coming to me like he wants to baby you. He wants to help you grow. He wants to take care of you. He wants to calm your fears, and he wants to take away your shame and your guilt, and he wants to give you courage and strength and a good life. He wants to give you a life worth living. We're not meant to be here just to make it through each day. He puts us here for a reason, and he wants us to be happy. We're not supposed to be like, oh, here's another day. We're supposed to want to do what we can for him and move forward. And yes, we're building his kingdom, and we're doing things and trying to bring people in, because there is an end. And when that end gets here, I hope that didn't just show my battery going low. When that end gets here, it's a matter of who's standing around beside you. Who did you not tell? Who did you not speak to? And being crazy, as people like to say, Jesus crazy, God crazy, whatever, that's not what it's about. And I used to think the same thing. It was like somebody would say something about God, and I'd roll my eyes, or I'd change the subject, or get quiet, put a barrier up. And I see people do that to me now. But it's because when you get to a place where you actually experience God, you get a taste of him. And it says what, it was just on the tip of my tongue. Taste the Lord and see that he is good. And it is true. And like in my last video, you have a taste of filet mignon. You're not going to be happy with strip steak. And with God, when you get into a place, when you have got to a place, will get to a place to where you have that peace and you can have fun. Becoming a Christian is not about losing the ability to have fun. We have fun. And I pick and play, and I am more happy than I have ever been. I aggravate people at work and call them up and ask them. You could show up and see how I act. You know, people at church, you know, it's the same thing, and they're seeing a different side of me, because since going to church, I have been the ho-hum, crying, complaining, and all this kind of stuff. But when I finally got on the other side of my storm and been through my healing, I'm different, and I want to share it. I don't want to keep it to myself. I don't want to see people. I empathize now because I know what people have been through. I may not have been through the same exact thing, but like I said earlier, we can still go through different things, but still go through the same battles, the same fights, the same things to fight against. So anyway, I realized I went way over, so I apologize. But I hope you held on this long, or if nothing else, if you paused and came back to it, I appreciate it. I'm here to help, and I'm sorry I talk too much. I want to keep sharing, and I want to get as much information as I can. And when I'm on the subject, I know I tend to speak a lot about my past or my thoughts, but I'm praying that for the most part, you get the meat of it. You get whatever God is trying to get across, and I hope it helps you. I hope you'll come back. I hope you'll subscribe. I hope you'll like whatever that will remind you to come back and check on future videos. I guess that will be the close of this one. So may God bless you and keep you. And I love you. And I truly mean it.